Welcome
to the Michael Smerconish Program.
Refreshingly independent politics.
Exclusively on Sirius XM's POTUS, channel 124.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
Now, here's Michael Smerconish.
So last night, inspired by a column written by my next guest, I took about a 15 or 20 question online exam. I was trying to learn whether I'm fat phobic. I don't think of myself as being fat phobic, and yet the quiz said that I'm slightly fat phobic. I'm going to try.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'll try and recreate in real time the answers to my questions and piece that together, and people will be able to play along in their cars across the country and answer the questions out loud to themselves. But the column was written by Robin Abkarian. I always read her stuff in the LA Times. The headline, "It's a weird cultural moment. Taking Ozempic to lose weight is all the rage, but so is the fight for fat acceptance." Robin, thank you so much for being up early for us. We appreciate it.
Oh, I'm always up early, Michael.
Me too. So what led you down this rabbit hole, taking these quizzes, having conversations with your daughter, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, you know, I have a 30-year-old daughter. I'm also raising a 13-year-old niece, and we spend a lot of time talking about food choices and being healthy. But in reality, I think we all know what we're talking about, which is weight and how we look. And it's, you know, disappointing to me that that's how I feel. But we're always worried about how we look. We live in a culture that valorizes thinness. We have the, you know, Kardashians presenting a completely unrealistic idea to young women about what bodies should look like. I think we're all just pretty hung up on our weight and how we look.
You wrote, I appreciated your candor, that like so many women, I have a dysfunctional relationship with my weight. I've gained and lost the same 20 pounds countless times. I'm happy when I'm thin, and I'm sad, even slightly depressed. On some level, when I'm not, I remain appalled that I pin my self-worth on my appearance. Expand on that.
Well, I mean, I have a closet full of clothing of all different sizes. The smaller clothing, when I can fit into them, make me feel great. I don't even have to think about what I'm going to put on when I get up in the morning. But during the pandemic, I gained, I think, about 20 pounds. And it became, you know, like a struggle in the morning to figure out if I could fit into my clothes, or am I just going to wear sweatpants again? And so I worry about how I look. My daughter's about to get married. I want to look beautiful and slender in the mother of the bride dress. And it's just something that's on my mind constantly. It's sort of like a software program running in the background. What have I eaten today? How many calories have I consumed? Am I getting enough exercise? And I don't think I'm alone in this. I think a lot of women, and, you know, some men, of course, feel this way too.
Yeah, I don't think it divides strictly along gender lines. I have a pair of pants in my closet that are 2 sizes removed, meaning 2 sizes ago from me in the waist. And in the waist. No, yeah, I'm a hell of a lot bigger, yes. And so I'm telling my colleague. So I refuse to give them up. I refuse to donate them because they're aspirational. But if I'm honest with myself, I'm never going back to where I was at that stage. And Robin, I love to eat and I love to drink and I work out just so I can maintain some constancy in my weight. But I've sort of given up the idea that I'm really ever going strongly in the other direction.
Oh, I totally agree with you. I, too, have a pair of pants in my closet that I bought on my honeymoon in 1983, I think. I keep thinking, maybe one day I'll fit them again. I am never going to fit them again. Right now, when I look at them, they look like a child size. But about eating and drinking, I too, love to eat and drink. I'm a passionate cook. I live in a restaurant city in Los Angeles. There's so many exciting things going on with food. And so it's always this sort of internal struggle about how much to enjoy and how much to hold back. And in my case, I have to admit, there are certain health concerns, too. I was diagnosed with hypertension and high cholesterol, and so I have to be careful for my health, which brings me to another point about fat people and fat phobia, which is you're not necessarily unhealthy if you're overweight or fat. And that seems to be one of the great myths in our culture, that carrying extra weight automatically means that you're unhealthy or you've made bad choices or you can't control yourself. And that was another reason that I wanted to write this column, to talk about how fat people in our culture are damaged on a daily basis by the myths around obesity.
The fat phobia scale, the 14 questions, you answered them, and when you leave me, I'm going to answer them aloud here. But in your case, you were found to be fat positive. What did you think of that result?
You know, partly I know the answers to give to appear not to be fat phobic.
Yes.
But I also, on some level, I profoundly believe that a fat person should not be tormented on an airplane by being made to buy 2 seats. I mean, I think airlines should be able to accommodate people of different sizes. I know that doctors often make fat people feel terrible about who they are. And as a result, a lot of fat people avoid going to see doctors because they don't want to be shamed. It's not healthy for anybody to have these attitudes about body size. I'm working on being better about it, and it sounds like you are too.
I think, if I'm right in my recollection, one of the possible answers to the airline question was they ought to just make all seats bigger. That was the one that I opted for. But maybe I'm wrong.
No. I mean, there's got to be a way to allow people who are larger than the standard tiny airline seat to fly without being humiliated or overcharged. And I know this when I've been on the radio myself and brought this subject up, callers say, no, fat people don't deserve to be accommodated on airplanes. If they're fat, it's because it's their choice and they need to buy a second seat. There is so much we don't know about why people are fat and why some people are thin. And it is certainly just not as easy as making choices at the breakfast, lunch, and dinner table.
So let me go back to where I began. The headline on the column, which you probably didn't write, but does sum up nicely the climate in which we're living. On one hand, you've got people taking Ozempic and losing weight, and at the same time, we're all saying, well, it's okay if you're not some ideal weight because we're not going to shame you or be discriminating in our conduct toward you.
Yeah, but, so many people are trying to take Ozempic to lose weight who are not, in fact, diabetic, which is what the medicine was created for, that there's a shortage. And so that tells you, I know people who are desperate to get this stuff to lose 5 or 10 pounds. And that's crazy. And I can also identify with it. So it's just, we live in a culture that is just kind of messed up about our bodies and our sizes. And that's why I appreciate the woman whose book I mentioned, Aubrey Gordon, who is a woman who considers herself fat, who wrote a book called You Just Need to Lose Weight and 19 Other Myths About Fat People. And she really demolishes, the cultural attitudes toward fat people and really looks at the science about obesity to find that, people are just living their lives and trying to be healthy, and you can carry extra weight and be healthy.
You also make reference to the quote-unquote dubious origins of BMI. Body mass index has become so much a part of this conversation.
Oh, my God, yeah. So BMI was developed like 200 years ago based on Scottish and French white men to determine the averages of body sizes and heights. And it was never meant to be used as an individual marker of health. It was meant to be used as a way of analyzing populations. But slowly over time, various government agencies and insurers and, doctors and scientists have accepted that BMI is a proxy for health, and it's absolutely not.
Robin, finally, question number 1 is as follows. I'll use this as a tease when I take the full quiz. I want to know how you answered it, although I think I know. Someone in a large body crosses the street in front of your car. You visibly see fat and cellulite on their body. They are in a bikini top and cutoffs. My immediate thoughts are, here are the choices. I don't think anything different than when a small person walks by. Second, I hope that I never get that big. Third, they should dress for their body type. Fourth, I think at least they're getting exercise, or that person doesn't take care of themselves. I assume you checked, and I checked. I don't think differently about when a small person walks. Frankly, my honest answer would be it wasn't here. I feel some level of sympathy, like, damn, that's got to be hard.
Exactly, yes. I would say none of the above because my reaction would be, good for you. You know that you're going to inspire disgust and negative feelings in a lot of people, and yet you're comfortable in your bathing suit with your cellulite hanging out, so go for it. I remember when Lena Dunham, remember her show Girls?
Yep.
There was an episode where she rode her bicycle around Nantucket or wherever wearing a green bikini, and she's chubby. And
right.
my reaction then was, as it is now, good for you.
Robin Abkarian, your piece is linked in my social media today. Thank you for your writing it and also your willingness to come by and discuss it. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right. Take care, Michael.
You too. Robin's a columnist for the LA Times, and yes, I read her stuff. I'm going to come back and take